How safe is the money sitting in your bank account right now? Most of us live under the massive illusion that the US dollar, the undisputed king of global trade and the ultimate safe haven, will last forever. But history tells us a very uncomfortable truth. There is no such thing as an eternal empire, and there is certainly no such thing as forever money. Welcome back to the Kairos, where we decode global macro shifts and geopolitical risks. Today, we are diving deep into the 100-year cycle of reserve currencies. Using Ray Dalio's Changing World Order framework and the latest data from the IMF, we'll trace the rise and fall of the Dutch guilder, the British pound, and finally, the US dollar. More importantly, we won't just talk about history. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the top 1% of investors are actively protecting their wealth today using the legendary all-weather portfolio and a groundbreaking new ETF. Stay tuned. To protect our wealth in the future, we must first understand the past. According to legendary investor Ray Dalio, history operates in predictable cycles. Historically, a dominant empire and its reserve currency typically maintain their absolute hegemony for about 100 to 130 years before a painful transition occurs. In the 17th century, the Dutch guilder ruled global trade, backed by the world's most powerful maritime fleet. But eventually, excessive debt and the rising challenge from Britain brought the Dutch empire to its knees. The baton was passed to the British pound in the 19th century. Yet after financing two devastating world wars, the British Empire could no longer manage its catastrophic debt load, and the pound lost its crown. Enter the US dollar, which officially took the throne in the 1920s. It has now been about 100 years since the dollar became the world's money. And here is where it gets chilling. If we look closely at the macroeconomic landscape today, we are seeing the exact same three red flags that appeared right before the collapse of every past empire. First, astronomical, unsustainable national debt. The US is currently running deficits that are historically unprecedented during peacetime. Second, severe internal wealth gaps and extreme political polarization, which cripples domestic stability. And third, the rise of an external challenger, namely China and the BRICS nations, actively working to bypass the existing financial order. We are not just reading history, we are living through the late stages of a classic debt and hegemony cycle. So, is the dollar actually losing its grip right now? The data doesn't lie. According to a recent working paper by the IMF, the dollar's dominance is facing what they call a stealth erosion. In 1999, the US dollar made up 71% of global central bank reserves. Today, that number has plummeted to 58%. So, where did that capital go? It didn't flood into the euro or the British pound. Instead, central banks quietly diversified into non-traditional reserve currencies, like the Canadian and Australian dollars, and, most importantly, into physical gold. This trend went into hyperdrive after the outbreak of the Ukraine war. When the US and its allies expelled Russia from the SWIFT payment system and froze its foreign reserves, it sent a shockwave of geopolitical fear across the globe. Developing nations realized a terrifying truth. If the US can weaponize the dollar, our national reserves could be wiped out overnight. This fear has accelerated the De-Dollarization movement. As recent JP Morgan reports highlight, we are already seeing massive fractures in the commodities market. The petrodollar system is being directly challenged by the Petroyuan, as major oil producers begin accepting alternative currencies. We are entering the era of Bretton Woods III, a financial system anchored not by fiat paper, but by hard, physical commodities. We cannot perfectly predict if tomorrow will bring rain or sunshine. That's why your closet has both t-shirts and winter coats. Yet, when it comes to life savings, millions of investors leave their portfolios dressed only for the summer of economic growth, going all in on US tech stocks. While the US dollar won't disappear overnight, holding nothing but cash or a single nation's equities in a fragmented, inflationary world is a surefire way to destroy your purchasing power. Your portfolio needs a shield. It is time to borrow the wisdom of the all-weather portfolio. Designed by Dalio, the core philosophy here is not about dividing your money equally. It's about balancing your risk. Here is how it survives the 4 economic seasons. During periods of economic growth, the 30% allocation in equities captures the upside. When the bitter winter of deflation and recession hits, the 55% allocation in medium and long-term treasury bonds acts as a massive shock absorber, offsetting your stock market losses. And finally, during the stormy seasons of high inflation and currency debasement, the exact geopolitical risks we are facing today, the 15% allocation in gold and commodities becomes your ultimate life jacket. But let's be honest, for the everyday investor, balancing a demanding career, studies, and family, manually buying different bond durations, balancing stock indices, purchasing gold ETFs, and constantly rebalancing them is an absolute nightmare. This brings us to a revolutionary solution: the ALLW ETF, State Street Bridgewater All-Weather ETF. Recently launched through a partnership between State Street and Bridgewater Associates, ALLW democratizes Dalio's legendary institutional strategy into a single ticker. Instead of manually juggling dozens of assets, you can buy one fund that automatically balances risk across equities, bonds, and commodities. It is designed to act as an autopilot for your wealth, specifically engineered to navigate both the inflation shocks of the 1970s and the deflationary crashes of the 2000s. If you want to sleep soundly without checking charts every morning, ALLW is a structural masterpiece worth your attention. There is no such thing as an eternal empire, and there is no perfectly safe single asset. In a rapidly shifting world order, blind loyalty to cash is the greatest risk of all. Take a hard look at your portfolio today and ask yourself if it's built to survive the winter. If you want to dive deeper into how to allocate physical gold into your strategy, make sure to click the video on your screen right now where we break down the top gold ETFs. If you found today's macro analysis valuable, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Kairos, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, invest smart and stay prepared.